Hello, all, and welcome to this brief discussion concerning cybersecurity. I'm Joe Rafanelli, Director of Technical Solutions at Microsoft. I have Scott Kalcic here, a 20-year veteran of cybersecurity with me today to explain the real-life scenario of cyber attacks and how we can prevent it. Let's ask Scott. The tactics of these criminals is always evolving, right? They're targeting organizations. Organizations are having to pay ransomware. It's just really a total mess, right? And it's quite devastating to companies. So what are some of your thoughts about preventing a cyber attack?
Sure. And Joe, you just hit home with me on that one. Cybersecurity, I read this not too long ago. Cybersecurity, if it was an economy, would be the world's third largest. That's a scary statistic to even say here today. So the approach is very important. It starts at home, right? It starts with, just having good cyber initiatives, making sure that your end users, your employees, your consultants, your contractors, anybody that touches your digital environment are trained in what they're doing. And it's a constant reiterative process, right? So you train them, you retrain them, you remind them, and it's everybody's responsibility to make sure that the data is safe and that personal identities are not divulged and that corporate data and information is held tightly, right? And it does start with training, but it also starts with a good assessment and assessing your environment. And self-assessment is great, but also having a third party, a second set of eyes and ears to kind of help you through the process.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you for saying all that. So you mentioned that you've been doing cybersecurity for years, and I know we talked about that numerous of times. I'm sure you have faced, a bunch of criminals, if you will, or what have you, in terms of incidents. Maybe you can share one with the audience.
Sure, love to. Not too long ago, it was late last year, early this year. We had a fairly sizable client that had a ransomware attack, and that ransomware
Mm,
attack within minutes took over their environment. They're a transportation company, and it stopped their wheels from turning. Their business was just at a standstill. It happened in a couple of minutes. It happened to a trusted resource of the company that was working from home, and obviously a lot of us are doing that these days. There's a lot of remote work going on, and it was one of the company executives working from home, and he was on a secure VPN, and he just happened to get hit from the back end on an email, which just tripped the trigger, and ransomware took the environment down pretty hard and pretty quickly. One good thing that came from this was the fact that they had already engaged, myself and some of my team to help them, kind of traffic cop their security. So we had a good disaster recovery mechanism in place, and it's very ransomware aware. So within hours we had the environment back up and running, and within just a few days, everything was totally resurrected and back in business, right? So part of that is being proactive. We had proactive disaster recovery systems in the backdrop. That incident was very severe, very ugly, and it could have gotten out of hand very quickly. We didn't pay ransoms. We didn't even dignify the criminals. We just said, okay, let's shut this thing down. Let's start over. Let's get the systems up on the alternate sources that we had from good proactive planning.
I tell you, that customer must have been so glad they had you on their side. That was a great story. I appreciate that. So, in preventing another attack, what do you suggest?
Having your guard up, right?
Yeah.
There's no full infallible way to do this, but having some good proactive mechanisms in front of your environment, as a whole. Some of it's technology, some of it's people, some of it having a good set of policies, readdressing those policies, having a good watchful eye at both from an operational stance and a technical stance. Things such as doing threat management, threat mitigation. There's a technologies that can go in front of your network and say, and monitor every piece of traffic just to say bad guy, good guy. And it does a lot of heuristics and sniffing, and there's that. And then there's also on the other side, on the operational side, there are mechanisms where You have a set of policies that like an example would be, you're sending emails, and if you're a healthcare company, there's a kind little word called HIPAA, and when you're dealing with HIPAA, your users want to be able to deal with the customers and the patients, and they're sending out information, and sometimes they forget, they divulge patient information, or they put down some sort of social security number or something that's protected information in the healthcare space. And you can put tools in front of these things that says, well, wait a minute, that looks like a social security, and it'll automatically encrypt it for you. So there's technological ways, and there's also operational ways that you can proactively protect yourself. And everybody says, wow, that could be expensive. It's not free, but it's very cost effective. And when you look at the alternative of getting hit and having to explain to your customers that their data has been divulged, and we could go endlessly on some major corporations that are getting hit just repetitiously.
All right.
Proactivity is just key.
I could tell how passionate you are with this topic. I appreciate that. So I want to thank you, Scott, for taking us through all that. For the audience, thank you guys as well for joining. So if there's anything additional questions or any questions that folks have, you can reach out to us or macrosoftinc.com. I want to thank everybody again. Thanks, Scott, again. For now, we're gonna sign off. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, folks.